So we are officially 4 weeks postpartum, and man, I cannot believe how quick this time has gone. It still feel like we just brought him from the hospital, but he is huge now. I'll put a picture up here. Hopefully it goes up there because I don't want to wake him up, but that's the little baby. But oh my goodness, where to even start? So okay, I'll start with, I guess, like the body update for me. So the healing process postpartum is a journey in the very, very beginning, but mine wasn't long and it wasn't bad. Maybe because I did some teas and stuff before, like all the way up until I actually went into labor. I did a labor prep tea by Pink Store and a red raspberry leaf tea. I drank that, I want to say 2-3 times a day up until I delivered, and it definitely helped with like my contraction strength and just like everything going back, like my uterus going back to the way it's supposed to be a lot quicker. I didn't bleed much after delivering him. I didn't bleed much in the hospital or when I got home either. Like how everybody was saying, you might need like an overnight type of pad throughout the day or a maxi pad or something like that. I didn't. I started off using a Depends just because I thought that it was going to be so much, but it wasn't. I actually ended up switching to the Always, I think it's called Infinity Foam or some type of foam, but the ultra thin one, because I wasn't bleeding enough to need it. And I change my pad all the time just because I just have this thing with hygiene, but honestly my bleeding was so minimal to where I really could have kept the same pad on the entire day because I wasn't soaking the pad or anything like that. Like I was barely wetting a pad. My stomach has gone pretty much back to normal as far as size goes, but my stretch marks have faded. Not completely, like I still have like very clear stretch marks, but they have faded a lot compared to when I was big and round. And my stomach, even though it's like, I call it deflated, the skin at the bottom of it, like from, I guess you would say from hip to hip bone, that skin is looser. Like I guess like it's gonna take some time for it to get back to how it was because it's a lot looser now. As far as my son goes, it actually gets easier with time. Like we didn't have any hard, I don't know, I guess like hardships from the time we brought him home or anything. Just you get more in the rhythm of doing things and you get more comfortable as time goes on. Like when we first brought him home, he was 5 pounds. So it was very nerve-wracking to like move him and like do all these little things because he was so small, especially when it came down to giving him like the little sponge baths and wipe downs and things like that, changing his clothes, things that like you had to pull his arm or move his leg or something like that. So those things were very, I guess like kind of nerve-wracking in the beginning because he was so small. And now you just like, you learn your baby and you learn what to do, how to do, and what they like, what they don't like, all that kind of stuff. His sleep pattern hasn't really changed much. I will say throughout the day he has times where he's more awake, and for like longer periods of time. So before he just would sleep, and like we'd be lucky if we could catch him awake. Now he has times throughout the day, like maybe at like 8 o'clock in the morning, where he'll just be wide awake and just up. So that's time that we try to interact with him and talk to him and do all these things before he falls back asleep. Maybe around maybe around 2 or 3 he'll be like wide awake again, and then he'll crash, and maybe around 8 he'll be back up for maybe an hour or so. And sometimes it's not even an hour, but it's just you notice a lot more time that they're awake than when they first came home. With breastfeeding, that has been such a journey because I pump and mainly bottle feed. I think I told you guys that in the last video. And I like the fact that I do the bottle feeding because I'm able to see how much he's eating, and that way I can measure out milk for at night when my husband has him, or know how much I need to store and how much to keep out for right after I pump. That's a whole nother thing, so we'll do a whole separate thing on breastfeeding because that can get so complicated. Well, it can sound complicated. It's not complicated, but it can sound like it. He goes through quite a few Pampers, and I know they said that with him being breastfed, he's definitely gonna go through a lot of Pampers because he's always pooping and peeing, which isn't bad. I can tell that he gets tired of having to be changed, but I'd rather him be upset that he's getting changed than have a rash. What else? His 1 month appointment, they didn't do anything besides check his height, weight, like development. But other than that, they didn't do anything. We did schedule his 2 month appointment, which is when he will be having his vaccines. I don't remember which ones they said. He's starting to like smile more and make more noises and do a lot more moving around. Now if he feels like, I guess like he's sliding or something, he'll like grab arms and stuff, and it's just amazing to watch them go from doing absolutely nothing to like everything. Like he does every single thing. He's always looking around and following things, and I guess like fussing, like we call his little grunting fussing. It's so interesting to watch them develop so quickly and to see how quick his weight changes. Like we follow him in the Baby Plus app, which is very helpful because we have the Pregnancy Plus app, which had a lot of articles and a lot of information, and now the Baby Plus app has the same thing, and you also can track like his development, his weight gain, like his height, head size, feedings, diapers, etc. Just some of everything is in that app, and it's amazing to see like how quickly he's moving up this little scale that's in there. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Overall, I absolutely love being a mom. I still, like I said, I still haven't had one of those days where I just feel like, oh my God, like what the hell? I still haven't felt that way. A lot of me not feeling that way comes from maybe because I'm the eldest of 6, and maybe also because I don't know, I'm just happy to be a mom. And like I do have a really peaceful baby, a really chill child who just want to eat and like and sleep, and he's fine. A little tip to the moms, like keep up with yourself even though you probably won't feel as though you have the time, or you won't feel like it's necessary because you're not going anywhere. It's important to do those things because you can so easily get caught up in just the identity of a mom instead of like you're still a woman. You don't want to get into a habit of like not taking care of yourself, because that's a quick way into depression, honestly. And especially with your hormones already being all over the place, your body's already going through so many different changes. You don't want to look in the mirror and feel like, ew, like you don't want that. So it's important to like take care of yourself, make sure that you are still feeling as best as you can under the circumstances. And another tip I would say is to take everything that people tell you with a grain of salt. Only hold on to what applies to you, and make sure that you assert yourself as your child's mother from the very beginning. Like don't let people come in and tell you what works for your child, because everybody's child is different and everybody's experience is different. And if not, you'll start to feel powerless or overwhelmed or whatever the case is. So do what works for you. Don't let anyone tell you what is best for your routine with your child or what works with your child, because at the end of the day, you are the one taking care of that child when those people go home. They don't have the full-time responsibility that you do of caring for your child or even being around your child to know like what this cry means and what this means, and oh, when she moves like this, it's this, or when he does this, it's that, or this is abnormal for him or for her. My last tip would be to know your limits. If you get to a point and you feel overwhelmed, like it's okay to tag somebody in or whatever. If you feel comfortable with having people around your baby, definitely get help when you need it. If you feel overwhelmed, take a step back and then come back to it. But yeah, give this video a thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment.